everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of The Week in Technology, or should I say The Week in Purple, because as you can obviously see, me and my guest for today are both dressed in purple. I assure you it was not planned. My guest today is Dato Dr Kamal Singh, who is one of the few people I know since I started covering technology in year 2000, left the comfort of stressful, of course, but a very cushy job as the CEO of a global MNC based in Cyberjaya, and became an entrepreneur himself. So it's been about 12 months,
yes,
a year, right?
Months, yes.
Since you've been an entrepreneur now. You were the CEO of British Telecoms. Was it Asia Pacific or Cyberjaya Research Center? What was the?
Well, the company here is called British Telecom Multimedia Malaysia.
Okay.
But it's really the hub for the whole of Southeast Asia,
okay,
and even wider Asia before China came on board.
Before China came on board. So you're focusing on doing research, right?
Yes, the whole focus of British Telecom Malaysia was, and still is, to create and develop new products that can be sold back to Europe.
To Europe, lah. Okay. And you've got a star grant from MDEC also to help you with that process, right? Okay.
That's correct, yes.
And I understand that we did an article once, and obviously I forgot the details, but I know that you slightly exceeded the outcome that you promised MDEC, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Would you remember that offhand?
Offhand, yes. Our deliverables were quite tight.
Yeah.
Over a 3-year period, we were asked to deliver 50 publications, in 5-star journals.
5-star, very specific. That means tier 1, right? 5 stars, tier 1.
5-star
wow.
international journals.
And these were done all by Malaysian researchers?
All Malaysian researchers. We exceeded that number. We ended the 3rd year at around just under 70.
Wow.
So that was one deliverable. The second deliverable was patents.
How big was the people? How big was the group? You had about a dozen researchers on board?
We started with 5 people.
This was in 2004?
2004.
Okay.
Yes, 2004. We started with 5 people.
Okay.
We ended the 3rd year with 55.
55, huh? Wow.
All Malaysians, 100% Malaysian.
Wow. So the universities must have been cursing you with all this good talent leaving them. Did you poach from the universities, or how did you get a lot of this? I know a substantial amount of them had PhDs already, right?
A substantial amount. And actually a large number of them we attracted from overseas.
Overseas, brilliant.
There were Malaysians who were working overseas doing research and either teaching or working for MNCs.
Okay.
When they saw that there was an opportunity back home to do a similar thing, they got excited and they came back. So we managed to slightly do a reverse brain drain.
Okay, that's interesting, because we featured Dr. Walter Gabriel, in Net Value. He hasn't appeared on the show yet, but he will, and he'll give us an exclusive as soon as he ties in his venture capital funding. That's an exciting story on the cusp of happening. But he was saying that his experiences with Malaysians overseas, forget about giving them brain gain perks, you can bring back your pet poodle without inoculations or your furniture and all that. They want to talk about money, because they're earning big bucks there. And also he says you got to help build up dynamic IT industries here which are doing cutting edge research, because they're doing that there. That will bring them back. And your own example is proof that, right?
Yes.
That works.
Yes.
I don't think you needed to hang the brain gain attractions over their heads for them to come back, right?
No, not at all. In fact, we didn't even use it at all, not even for one person.
Fantastic.
I mean, what attracted the guys who joined us was the ecosystem of research and cutting edge work, technology and so on. That's what attracts bright minds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we provided that ecosystem of culture.
Okay, great. So 70 tier 1 publications, and then you're talking about patents before I cut you off so rudely. But
no problem there. Patents, our deliverables were 50 over 3 years.
Okay.
We delivered 66.
66, huh?
These were all international patents filed worldwide.
Wow.
Again, all by Malaysians.
Wow, brilliant. Do you know how many of them eventually got approved, or?
Well, the way the system works in a multinational like BT is we don't file it unless we're sure of a 90% success rate. Because there's a whole team of IP lawyers sitting in London. World-class guys who know the system, who understand the system. So 90% will go through.
Wow. Okay, so Dato, you were in this environment, right? Cutting edge. and then, you know, what compelled you, you know, to become an entrepreneur and start knocking your head against the wall? Although you were an entrepreneur before, yes, but that venture didn't succeed. So maybe before you answer that, what did you learn from your earlier venture, you know, and from the failure of that venture too, if you don't mind being you know, honest and using the F word?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we need to use the F word more these days, although it needs to be a different one from what the youngsters use.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason I joined BT was actually precisely due to the failure of entrepreneurship. When I first came back to Malaysia from New Zealand,
in what, 90?
In 95, I think. It was 95. That was when the super corridor was just being talked about. Then it got initiated, yes, and I came back on the promise of new things happening in Malaysia, and I started this company. We did very well initially. Initially, we did very well until the 97 crisis hit us. I was too busy chasing the business, and I didn't realize what was happening around the world. Then the Thai baht fell, the Malaysian ringgit fell, and before we knew it, everything was in recession.
Wow.
I learned a number of things. One is forget about profit and loss. As an entrepreneur, if you're focusing on profit and loss, you're going to be in serious trouble. It's cash flow. Cash flow is king. And when the recession hit us, the first thing that got hit was cash flow. We had very good customers, but none of them could pay. It was as simple as that. So that was a very critical lesson. The second thing I learned was we actually didn't know how to develop products.
You mean we as Malaysians, or within your own company, even you yourself?
Well, now that I have so many dealings with SMEs, I can say we as in SMEs, we go out, we develop products the way we think they need to be developed, but they don't have world-class resilience. They don't have scalability. They may not be replicable. You know, that industrial strength. We don't cater for that because most of us have not learned how to do it. So from that experience, I sat back and I said, there's got to be a better way to do this. How do the big boys do it? And that's when I decided to join BT. BT was looking at setting up a small research center. I went to London and I spoke to the guys and said, you know, let's not be silly. The growth is not in UK. The growth is in this part of the world. You should be making Asia your research headquarters, not an outpost. Well, the CEO at that time bought into the idea, and that's how we started growing. But my reason of joining was to learn how the big boys do it. So I spent 8 years learning. But there comes a time when you learn, you have to stop learning and you have to start practicing. So that's when I decided last year that it's now time to put all those lessons back into practice. So here I am.
Wow. So what have you learned, you know, about what the market in Malaysia thinks innovation is?
Well, unfortunately, the word innovation is abused in Malaysia. You know, and there is total confusion between innovation, invention, research, development, stuff like that. They all mean different things. This is not an English lesson or a grammatical lesson or a class, but when you don't define things properly, you end up doing the wrong things. So innovation is something that our SMEs don't quite appreciate. And I've been going out you know, on road shows over the last 3, 4, 5 years trying to drill the message through that innovation is not rocket science. Innovation is about how do I make money out of creativity. In our case, in our industry, creativity from technology.
And when you focus on creativity, I know one of the areas I like you're working on is this DVD, right, that you have already finished producing, right, and you're now hitting your head against the wall trying to market, but and it's targeted at school children, which I think is so important, right? So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes, it's a series we produced on critical thinking skills.